Joining us now is retired Army Major John Spencer. He's the chair of urban warfare studies at the Modern War Institute. John, thanks so much for being here. We know that the IDF has been training to fight in these tunnels. It even has a special unit dedicated to tunnel warfare. But this labyrinth underground has been called the most sophisticated tunnel network ever seen in combat.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I also agree that the Israeli Defense Force has the largest tunnel fighting capability of any military, to include the U.S. military. But the scale of this, right, from the northern tip of Gaza Strip to all the way down to Egyptian border, 300 miles of tunnels. It's a wicked, really big problem, especially that is where the hostages are. The ones that have been released, the two said, I was in a tunnel that looked like a spider complex. That we know that's where they are, but trying to contain them in a certain area is the challenge.
You say the average Hamas tunnel is just 2 meters high and 1 meter wide. Like, just moving through these things is a challenge. Fighting in them must be almost impossible.
That's right. Yeah, and I've been in many Hamas replica tunnels in southern Israel. It's one person barely, and I'm not a small guy with the shoulders rubbing on both sides. To imagine to be stuck in those for over a month. The psychological impact is massive, but to fight down them, right? You can point your weapon down there and anybody can shoot and they're going to hit what's coming down it. I mean, there are also disadvantages for being in a tunnel if you're trying to fight in them, but you got to think about the hostages.
One of the hostages you mentioned, who was freed, said that she walked miles through tunnels until they reached a very large tiled room, and that someone then said to her, "Welcome to underground Gaza." Some of these tunnels are hundreds of feet deep. They contain rooms, offices, medical centers, and Hamas knows them like the back of their hands. So they're going to have the upper hand.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a city under a city, and I don't think people are understanding of it. It's more analogous to the London Metro, the New York City Metro, but it also opens to these giant crevasses where you can drive trucks into, store 12,000 rockets, command posts, 15 feet to 200 feet. That's 20 stories down that we've found, and we believe the IDF believes that they're deeper than that.
You say the hard truth is that the depth and scale of Hamas tunnels will surpass Israel's specialized capabilities. Does that mean the night vision goggles, the robots with cameras, the weapons, they're not a match for this?
Right. I mean, there's a scale problem, but this isn't just Israel. Israel's asked for support, and you can guarantee some of those support is like drones that can operate underground, communication that can work underground, the night vision goggles. So yes.
The IDF already has found more than 500 tunnel shafts just in the past few weeks. How many more might there be?
I mean, Hamas has been building these for decades, thousands. And that's why the southern Israel, yes, the Hamas strong point and the center of the tunnel complexes was in the north, but it extends like the smuggling tunnels all the way down. It is truly a metro system. So there are thousands of entrances.
You mentioned the fact that actually firing a weapon down there in these tunnels the person firing the weapon can actually get hurt because of the close confines. Tell me why. Describe what happens.
Right, because the concussions of the actual weapon, depending on what weapon it is, if it's just a rifle, you still need double ear protection not to blow your eardrums and get basically disoriented. So you have to have suppressed weapons. You have to have, again, specialized equipment to operate down there.
All right, I'm going to ask what might be a silly question, but we know that Hamas needs generators to provide oxygen down there in these underground tunnels because they can't breathe. There's no air down there. Why don't the Israeli forces just seal off the tunnels and wait them out? In other words, if they deprive them of fuel, they're going to have to come up sooner or later because they're going to run out of air.
Yeah, so you need air ventilated. So these are ventilated tunnels, but you also need to pump out carbon monoxide and things like that. Well, the issue is what you started the segment with, hostages. Yes, a tactic to basically is not enter the tunnel. You could have an approach to destroy any entrance and bury them inside, create a coffin for Hamas. But if you think your hostages down there, that can't be your only approach. There will be IDF soldiers, and there already has been, who's had to enter tunnels. Hopefully that's based on intelligence and what's driving the operations on where they go and how they go.
All right, John Spencer, a very daunting task ahead of the IDF as they not only try and attack Hamas, but most importantly, find those more than 200 hostages, some of them children, hidden down beneath in those tunnels. Thanks so much for being with us.